Steve, you look like when the cigarette was dangling before the show started. You look like you were in The Outsiders. You know The Outsiders when
Oh, that's a classic. Yes.
great movie when Matt Dillon would be standing there with a
Yeah.
cigarette. You know
I always wanted to be an outsider because the outsiders were cool, and
they were cool.
I
They
was
were
never.
cool, but they got themselves in trouble. But
Yeah, I know, but I'd want to get in trouble just so I could be cool.
yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
whole point.
Well, I
I
definitely didn't identify with the socias. You know there's a lot of famous guys. Like I've watched that movie many, many times, and every year, once a year, it comes on. I just sit there and watch it, and it's amazing because some of the guys that were on the bad guy side, the socias, quote unquote,
yes, yes.
there were some famous guys and that were in that. I didn't realize it.
The cast was the cast was phenomenal.
I mean, yeah, and on the
For the outsiders, the
for the
cast was
outsiders,
one of the best ever.
it was Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez,
Yeah,
Rob Lowe.
it was just
Who
unbelievable.
else? Oh, Ralph Macchio. The guy who's the main star is
Macchio was in it.
yeah, Ralph Macchio's Ponyboy.
Oh my god, I completely forgot Ralph Macchio was in the freaking.
He's Ponyboy. He's the one that dies from the fire.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen it in so long.
C. Thomas Howell is his buddy.
Yes, I love C. Thomas Howell.
Great underrated actor. Still active.
Very. Yeah, no, he has. He's done some good stuff. Yeah, I think he was in Fargo. Yeah, he was a very underrated actor. I love The Outsiders.
Because the woman, the girl who plays Cherry is Diane Lane.
Yep. I always wanted to be one because I know I'd never be cool and I'd probably never get in trouble. So that was just my only outlet and hope of just being a degenerate. So
well, now you're a perfect outsider.
Yeah, now I'm a perfect outsider. I finally made it.
You made it.
I made it 30 years later. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So if you were, this is, by the way, has nothing to do with the Husky sports. We'll get to that, which is probably, by the way, much more exciting anyway.
Yeah, because I'm going to get irritated. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. So if you could be any one of the boys on the Outsiders,
Matt Dillon. It's Matt Dillon.
It's Matt Dillon. You'd be Matt Dillon
all the way.
Shot at the end, killed.
Yeah, all the way. I'm Matt Dillon.
Yeah. That's who you identify with?
That's who I'd want to be, yeah. It's the same question I've always been asked. If you had a gun pointed to your head and you had to perform fellatio on a man, who would it be? Without hesitation, Hulk Hogan.
It would be nobody for me.
I know.
So, all right. So let me.
I love Matt Damon. That was one of the first rated R movies that I watched.
Matt Damon.
You mean? Matt Dillon. Matt Dillon. It was one of the first rated R movies I watched growing up, because it was before our time, and I just freaking loved it. I thought it was the best movie ever. And
you know what's amazing too? Have you ever read the book?
I didn't even know there was a book.
It's from a book.
Oh, okay. All right.
When I was a kid, because I'm a little older than you. You're what, 40? How old are you? 40?
42.
42. I'm 51. So when I was a kid, the movie came out, I think, when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, okay. But we read the book in school.
They read the book in school?
Yes.
What grade were you in?
I don't. It had to be 6th or 7th grade. They read the book.
6th and 7th grade. They read that book.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that was a different time.
Oh, this is a different time, dude.
A different time.
Listen, we also read what's Huckleberry Finn. You know, with all the.
I liked Huck Finn. I just didn't.
I know, but there's all kinds of language.
Yeah, there's shenanigans. Yeah, I know. I didn't pay attention to Huck Finn. I just liked the movie. I didn't really pay attention to the book. But I cannot believe In New Jersey, the curriculum calls for reading of The Outsiders to 12-year-olds.
Yes, that was the curriculum back in.
That explains so much
It
about
does, doesn't it?
why Jersey people are how they are.
I don't know that they read it anymore.
That explains it all together. I don't need
Like,
to hear anything else. Knowing that you read The Outsiders at 12 years old,
so
that explains New Jersey to a T.
you had kids in my friend group thinking that they were guys in the outside. So I would say that, like,
with the leather jackets and shit.
So I would say I probably was most like, personality wise, I would say I'm most like Patrick Swayze's role. Even though it's a small role, he's kind of like he's really the leader of the crew.
Yeah. That's why
he doesn't have a big role. He's not a huge role because Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howell, and Ralph Macchio are really the stars. But I would say my personality is probably most like him.
He was in charge. He didn't have to do much. He didn't have to say much. He was the man.
He was a badass in it too.
Yeah,
of course. He was the one who kept Matt Dillon tried to keep Matt Dillon under control.
Yes.
Matt Dillon, he's the only one that Matt Dillon would listen to him.
Yes, before anyone else. Yes.
Well, he didn't listen to anyone else really. So he was really the other leader. He was the other leader.
And that's why I would associate myself with Matt Dillon. There you go.
He was the other leader, but he
doesn't listen. Yeah.
Well, he was trying to figure his world out, right? No parents, no.
Yes.
Or his old. Well, they all parent, but their parents were bums or whatever. And all right, now the other question is: do you know where that was supposed to have taken place?
No, I don't.
I'll give you a guess.
I haven't seen it in probably 20.
I'll give you a guess. Guess the state first.
I would probably guess New York, but
I thought that was a good guess because I would have thought that because
I would have thought the Bronx or something. But no.
Well, remember they go away; they're at some farm or whatever.
Yes.
So it has to be. But New York's a good guess because you could be like in the city and then go. But no, you ready? Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, I would have never gotten that. Not in a million years. Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where The Outsiders was set.
Yes.
Jesus, that's like saying Greece was set in Minnesota. I mean,
I think Greece is California, right?
Yeah, but Greece, like being in Minnesota or somewhere in the Midwest, it just wouldn't make sense.
No, that's where it is. Yeah.
It's funny because I had the show with Bethany Hart before this, and she's taking her kids to see Grease tonight.
The play.
Yes. Okay. I was like, Bethany, I don't know if Grease would be the best movie to take your kids to see who are 8 and 10 years old. I don't know if that's the choice I would go with, but I mean, I'm not a parent, so I mean, you can do what you want, but.
Grease.
She was a little miffed at that.
The original movie Grease, which also came out when I was probably a little kid.
It was 77, yeah.
Yeah, I was a baby, so I didn't watch it till obviously years later.
Yeah,
but Grease, oh man.
Oh, Olivia Newton-John smoking.
Olivia Newton-John when she came out
in the leather. Whew. She was smoking.
Because I thought she was the girl next door, beautiful new girl next door, right?
She was.
And then she came out as I was like,
she turned it on, man.
I think that might have been the first time I said, oh.
You got a half one there. Yeah, I mean, she turned it on, man. She got it done. Her and Phoebe Cates. I always loved Phoebe Cates.
Oh, Phoebe Cates was great. Yeah. That was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I couldn't. Wow.
That's that's probably a late 70s, early 80s.
That was early 80s. Yeah, that was
early 80s.
Yeah, that was Spicoli. Jeff
Spicoli.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
Maybe everybody would like to have a slice of pizza.
When he orders a slice of pizza in school. Oh, those
man.
Did you watch Porky's? You must have loved Porky's.
I did watch Porky's, but you know what? It was so. I think that was a early '70s movie.
It was, yes.
By the time I was even though I watched it, it was like.
Well, it definitely aged out.
But it might have been a little bit more aged out than those other movies. But
yes.
Kim Cattrall was the gym teacher.
Yes.
From Sex and the City.
Yes.
She was the sexy gym teacher, not the one that pulls the tongue out.
Well, I mean, Kim Cattrall was pretty much sexy in everything she did. I mean,
oh my God,
I can't think of a moment where she wasn't sexy. So,
Kim Cattrall.
Yeah, it's too bad. Too bad they couldn't get her back for Sex in the City. I mean, I may have actually watched it occasionally to see her.
I know. Instead, he had to watch all the. No one wants to watch the.
No, I Sarah Jessica Parker. I'd rather see her thrown through a wall. The Cynthia Nixon, the ginger one. I never really liked her. The dark-haired one was okay, but her character was just too prissy.
Too prissy.
Yeah. Kim Cattrall was just the best. She was just an unapologetic whore, and I loved it. You know what? It's great.
And it is. And that was the perfect time period for that to come out.
It was.
What was that? Was that late
2000?
2000? Yeah, 2000.
Yeah, it was right around then in The Sopranos. And
why don't we have programming anymore like that stuff?
Because everything's PC now. You can't have any. There's like one of my favorite shows. I used to love the NBC shows, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD. And then COVID happened, the George Floyd thing happened, and at Chicago PD, the sergeant was Hank Voight, and he was just the no nonsense,
great actor,
asshole, yeah. And they completely neutered him after 2020.
Really?
Yes. And I was just like, "Are you serious? Like, I can't even enjoy a badass Hank Voight bringing someone into the back room and roughing them up. Like, we got to take that away now." I was just like, it is fiction.
It is fiction.
Some of it go. I mean, Jesus. It's like, wow. It's like we had to go in the complete opposite direction. And
well, I saw a clip the other day on TikTok and you might remember this. You remember what was it, the show In Living Color? Do you remember that?
Oh,
so
In Living Color
with Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx and Damon Wayne. So
they were awesome.
Wait, I saw they had the character Handyman. Remember Handyman? He was like the superhero, but he was handicapped.
Was that the Wayans brother that played him?
Yeah, David Wayans played him.
Yes.
And he was like, he was helping handicapped people, and he himself was like had palsy or whatever.
Yes. Yep.
And it was so funny, but like they said above there, they said this would never ever happen anymore.
Oh no, they put a disclaimer like, yeah, we could never show this today.
Oh my God.
The Saturday Night Live, I was never a huge fan of it, but the 50th anniversary, I watched some of it, and I was just like, can't they just give these people an hour to just let them go and have some fun and make people laugh? Like, does it all have to be, you got to get your political message over or your values over and just make people laugh and shut up? Can we do that?
I think making people laugh is great. Like
I do too.
I mean, well, there's no doubt Rebel Republic is not PC, so.
Oh, that's great. That's great. There's gonna be. Did I tell you? Oh, I didn't tell you. I told my friend last night there was a petition started to get Rebel Republic off the air
on the public channel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did tell you. I told you that Ernie wanted to do some other stuff, but Rebel Republic easily like quadruples any ratings of the other shows that he has on.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
Is there really a petition?
Yeah, but that's what he said.
Well,
He
wait
said,
till this. I got to give you this last episode. Forget it.
no, I
They're,
know.
they're
I
going to
can't wait.
protest in the streets of Worcester.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
They might be protesting at my door, at Frank's me and Frank's door. They might be at.
Well, that's the good part. We got at least a 4-hour buffer between us. So I don't think.
Oh my God, they would definitely be at our door if me and Frank, if they lived
in Worcester. Yes, but the fact that he said so, yeah, they started a petition. They don't want Rebel Republic on the air anymore. I go, how many signatures do they have? And he said, well, as far as I know, maybe 20. Okay. I go, in a city with 250,000, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I just thought it was funny.
I know which 20 people it is. It's probably General Zod.
Yep.
Is that not the funniest?
He wants to come on the show. He wants to come on, which is crazy.
Who, General Zod?
Remember the guy on LinkedIn who kept commenting?
No. I'm talking about. Remember when? No, I know about him. But no, I'm talking about the guy who, when Worcester had.
Oh yes,
and the guy was dressed like General Zod
at the town council meeting.
General Zod and
the blue-haired lady. Oh
yes, and the sour grapes woman. She said, "These are my sour grapes."
She wore. Oh, that was the greatest
sour grapes on her head.
That was
make that shit up, dude.
That's Worcester.
I want to go as a field trip. Like,
you want to go? If you, I would.
You and Frank a field trip to a council meeting when there's craziness going on.
Oh, I would do that. I would take you. I would do that for sure.
By the way, kill us. They'd be like, "Are you? No, we're not.
I would do that, and then I would take you to a Woo Sox game, and we'd have a banner night. That would be totally worth it.
Imagine I would just sit there and listen to everybody.
Yeah, and they all get to speak, which I think is crazy, and they all go over the limit, and I can't believe they even let them talk.
Only have 1 minute. Please don't interrupt me.
Yes. Oh my God, the Worcester Town Council! What a shit show! They are just a mess. And
I'll tell you what happened in my town, which is pretty wild. But I don't know the result of it because I didn't go to it because we go to Catholic school, so it doesn't really affect us. But if we went to public school, it would. But no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't because where we live. But I guess apparently they redrew the lines in the town.
I heard they do that all the time. They do it for redistricting so they can get their people in, right? For voting.
Well, this happens to be more for they redrew the lines for schools.
Oh, for the schools. Okay.
And they're closing some schools apparently.
Oh.
And merging some schools, so some of the schools are going to be much bigger.
Frank always thought that was smart. Frank thought that there's so many small schools that we waste taxpayer money on that don't need to exist, that they should merge the small schools into just make bigger schools, and it would save so much money doing it that way.
Possibly, but people also like their small schools. You know,
no, they do 100%.
Like you could argue if you're buying a house in an area, right?
Yes.
So the flip side of the argument is you come in, you buy a house, and you talk to the realtor, and the realtor says, you go, where are the schools here? All right, here the school's over here. Here's the elementary school. It's a smaller elementary school.
Right.
Okay. Then you feed into this school. How many people go to that school? This is how many go to it. So when you buy your house, you could argue that you bought it for those reasons. So when they redistrict or merge schools, now people have bought a house for certain reasons, and now it's different. So I understand why they're. And by the way, I do understand the merging of it, but I also understand why
they want to keep.
I bought my house for this reason here, and now this is not the place. Like, what's going on here? with my taxes. But anyway,
it's absolutely insane.
It's insane. But those those Worcester Town Council meetings must be a trip. All right, let's talk to the topic of the day because no one wants to hear us talk about movies. Yeah, they probably do. Actually, the first commenter thought it was great. They said, and then Jack Costin says he likes UConn football. That's great too. Thank you, Jack. What was I going to say?
We're looking at spring practice.
Spring practice. No spring game. What are your thoughts?
Which why have spring practice if you're not going to even have a spring game? Like, what the hell? Like, you need to have a spring game. I understand, maybe if there's injuries where you pull back, but you can just lessen the reps. You can control it to make it safer, but to not have it all together, I don't think that's ever happened. I don't get it. I'm trying to find news on it, and of course I can't, but I heard from several sources that they weren't doing a spring game. Joe D said it too, but like, what are they doing? I don't know how it benefits them, having, because the majority, I think, like the first 5 practices aren't even in pads anyway. So like, and you're starting early because you have the indoor facility. Like, you can give them more time off to rest. I don't understand. They have so many new players coming in.
It has to do with recruiting.
What do you mean with recruiting? With getting guys back on the road recruiting?
Coaches? No, it has to do with they don't want to have a spring game because they think people are going to steal their players.
Who told me that?
Because that's what Nebraska came out with, and
that's what. Oh, you weren't there Monday night when we had Lyndon Johnson on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lyndon said he told Coach Edsel there were like a couple players. He's like, do not list them as first team all conference. And Randy was like, well, they had this and this, and they had great numbers. He's like, if you list them as first team all conference, they will be gone. Do not list them. And I was like, wow, that's pretty ingenious that he thought of that. He's like, yeah, if we list them as all conference, everyone's going to want them.
Well, where would he list them? What do you mean?
Well, you can vote on, who's all conference.
Right.
So Maryland could have picked, they had a linebacker and a couple other players, or one other player who were potential first team all conference, or not potential. They would have been first team all conference guys. So Lyndon coached the linebackers. He's like, do not list him as first team. We will lose him. Someone will offer him more and we can't compete. We'll end up losing him. And Randy, he didn't listen, listed him as, first team. He made first team. And Lyndon said, if you watch the show, go back. Lyndon said 3 weeks later, he was gone. He transferred out. He got a better deal to go somewhere else. So I can't believe that. Like, you can't even list the kid as being all conference for fear of them leaving. Like how is that?
There's no way to get around it anymore. So that's why they don't want to have a spring game. They don't want some guy who's the backup or the starter catching 8 balls for 180 yards. Right. Somebody goes and says, but the bottom line is, here's how I look at it. I look at it like, it's going to happen anyway. You might as well just do it. Yeah, do what your program needs to do. Yeah. Whatever's best for your program. The other thing it tells me that, gosh darn it, me, you, and everybody else did not need to beat our heads against the wall, okay, for spring ball for their amusement because it did not matter.
Yeah, 100%.
Spring ball did not matter.
No, it never used to.
Work this out, put us through drills, and not had us kill each other.
Exactly. Yes. And prevented injuries.
It did not make the team better. Listen,
No.
I agree that if we did like 7-on-7 with no pads on, or we're working through agility drills, or we're catching the ball, or we're doing wrapping up on bags, yes, that helps you. Spring ball, beating our head against each other, all it did is help coaches figure out what the depth chart was. It did not make a difference for us as far as development.
We installed one spring. We ran the midline option under center. I
At
was
UConn, you mean?
at UConn.
They did it once.
I had
You always have a quarterback
idea.
shortage. 1 year, Monte Nowden had to play quarterback because we had quarterbacks out or injured or transferred. I can't remember what it was, but he had and basically they spent spring ball with him running speed option and punting the ball to the other team when he threw it. So I mean, what was even the point in that? I don't even know what the point in that was. But
yeah. And then the other thing we did during spring practice, we did the midline option, which went absolutely no there. And then the next year we installed the G option, the G scheme with the option behind it, where you block down, pull the front side guard.
Yep.
They put that in. And, again, you're putting stuff in that you're never going to run in the season. You're just doing it for busy work to have something to install and have something to do. And I thought that was a complete waste. And I was like, well, why is this so hard? Like, put in a couple new passing concepts that you think could possibly work. You put in and, try running counter if you want. Why are we running option? We don't have quarterbacks to run option. We can't block option. Like, that's not what we do. We don't have tight ends. Like, it's a mess. And I never got that. And now, I mean, they have the indoor facility, and it's not like the kids, I mean, they can get all the film they want. I mean, they can get film and still transfer, regardless if they if they play a spring game or not.
Right, just play a spring game. Exactly.
Yeah,
you don't think those kids pull off of the what's the system they use? Exos? You don't think that they take the clips off of Exos that are good?
Exos, yep. They can make their own cut-ups. It's so easy to do.
Yeah, they make their own cut-ups. So I don't get it. And by the way, for the fans, not that there's that many fans that come to our spring game, but it is something that the fans, especially at these bigger schools,
we were getting pretty good crowds in the early to mid 90s. Like, people loved going to the spring game.
It's fun.
It was a fun experience. And then all of a sudden it turned to shit. They just relied too much on Randy's philosophy was, I want to get it over with. I'll start it in February if I have to. I want to get it over and done with. I want to get the kids back in the weight room, lifting and training. He wasn't as focused as much on, playing and scheming and overall development. He just wanted to get through the practices, get through them healthy so they could get back in the weight room and develop.
Again, that's my point. Why even have pads on them? Just barely do anything, and then just work them through drills, and then go play a spring game. That's it.
I mean, and they're
spring game is fun.
They're not really in pads from what I'm.
And isn't the spring game fun?
Oh, I always had a blast in the spring game.
Well, when I was in the spring, listen, this is my take on spring. Now, this is a different time period because they're not in pads. You're right. I got hurt my first spring ball the first time. I don't think I played in the spring game. Oh no, I did. I did play in the spring game. My freshman year. My redshirt freshman year. Oh yes, that's when. Right, that spring was when Holtz came in. So I already had started freshman. Holtz was already trying to work me down the ladder. I did play in that spring game. Okay, then then my oh no, I did. I don't know if I did play. I don't remember. My junior year when it came, I was out with an injury. I something. Oh, I broke my hand, or I broke my hand. Then my before my senior year, I had a neck. Actually, had a what do you call it? I got a stinger
The
that was so bad.
stinger, yeah.
It was so bad that I couldn't lift my arm, so I was out for that spring game. So and it affected zero of my playing time either way. Like I was still the starter coming in, even though I had sat out of the spring game. Um, all
Yeah,
I
they're
did
going to play the best guys. I mean, it's not going to matter. They
Yeah,
just
so
want you to get healthy.
all they did was just MF me when I was standing there on the sidelines during the spring game doing nothing. They would just be like, yeah, you want to give your job up? I'm like, oh, you're gonna give it to him? No.
Yeah, go ahead. He can have it. Watch what happens.
Yes,
See how he does.
yes,
You
exactly.
you want to play him? Play him at your own risk.
That's exactly.
That's what I would have said. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I just would stand when they would say things like that to me. I would stand there and I wouldn't even like. I was kind of like a non-reactor.
Right.
I was one of those like non-reactors. Like there were players that reacted to coaches.
Yeah.
And there were players that
they couldn't get a reaction out of
were
it.
like MF, and they would say things. I would just be like, okay, like what do you want me to say to your ranting and raving?
And this is ridiculous too. They have 7 quarterbacks on the spring roster. Joe Figiano is back, and he's on board for his 7th season of college football. Evers is returning to compete for the starting job. They have our redshirt freshman, our guy Cole Welliver, the 6'7" kid, who we like. And then they have obviously Tucker McDonald, who's a redshirt sophomore who broke his foot early in the season. So Jim Morris says he loves the depth. There's going to be intense competition, and that's what brings out the best in everybody. And I think, and to say, and he goes, it was just a horrible thing to say. It was a surprise, to say the least, that we found out that Joe had like an 18th year of eligibility. But I think Nick has responded really well, and Joe has responded well. I mean, what's wrong with you, man? This guy, if you didn't have him,
you wouldn't have won 9 games.
You would have won probably 4 or 5 games.
4 games. We would have lost some of these crappy games.
This guy comes in, he wins you the bowl game, and you can't name him the starter. You can't even name him the starter going into the spring. You got to say it's got to be a competition. Like, and I hate being negative on it, but it just seems bullshit and wrong. Like, this guy, Nick Evers, got them into more trouble than anyone. Joe Figiano bailed them out more than anyone. Now, he wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
He had a poor completion percentage, and he had 20 touchdowns, but 6 came against Merrimack. I mean, he didn't set the world on fire, but he wins a bowl game, and they finished 9-4. Like, what? How could you not go into the season with him getting a chance to be your starter? And especially, okay, you're making fun of him saying, oh, he's got an 18th year of eligibility. How about you give the kid who's had experience, how about for once he can go into the season without looking over his shoulder and go in knowing he's the man and not have to worry? And
I don't think that's ever going to happen for Fignano.
No, it won't. No, it won't. Not at all.
Never going to happen for him.
Nope. And it's because they paid money and they feel they have to get their money's worth. Yep. And I mean, I get all that, but the guy led you to your best record, 9-4, which was the best record, I believe, since 2009. 2009. Even when they went to the Fiesta Bowl, they ended up 8-5 after they lost. And before that, it was the 98 season. The guy, Evers, played in 5 games. He was in and out of the lineup all year, hurt, not hurt, hurt, not hurt. This guy has shown toughness, durability. He'll stand in and make the tough throws. No, he doesn't have the best accuracy, but they did not design the offense around him. You know his limitations. You know he's not as much of a threat as a runner. So make up for that. Make up for that. Get in the 2 backs. Get under center. Put a tight end out there. Put 2 tight ends out there. Run some power. Run some counter. Run naked. Run hardball play action. There are things you can do to protect him from what he can't do. And that's what's frustrating to me is the square peg in the round hole thing, because we're paying Evers this kind of money. We have to find a way to play him. Like they're looking. It's not even that they're looking for a reason not to play Joe Fagiano, and
Right.
that's what bothers me the most. Instead of, hey, we need to have a great season in order to have an opportunity to get into a conference, because this model is not going to last. We got to get into a conference. Joe gives us the best chance to do that. Let's put an offense behind him that gives him a chance at success. Our defense is solid. We legitimately could win another 9 games if we do it right. Like, why waste it? Why waste it just for the glorification? Because we were, I don't want to call Mike an idiot, but we jumped the gun a little bit on giving Nick Evers money.
Well, we didn't know. We didn't know.
Well, we had to have known. This was his 3rd school.
Well, I think the issue was last year was that the big money being doled out was a newer thing.
Yes, I agree.
And people didn't know, okay, don't dole it out to these guys. Now I think you kind of know, like, if you're going to dole it out to a guy, make sure you know that this guy's going to be able to produce, and that he's going to have that production for you. Preferably a guy that's already played a little bit, gotten on the field a little bit, or played at a lower level and dominated. So those are the things that we probably didn't know as well last year that we probably know better. But I do think listen. I do think that the NIL and basically what you have here is quasi owners of the team. They're not owners of the team, but they are quasi owners of the team in the sense that they're doling out the money, right? So when the $22 million comes in,
well, they're not going to get $22 million, but yeah,
whatever they get, that part's going to go to university. The university owns that part of the team.
Correct.
The other part of the teams are owned by collectives who are going to pay guys accordingly. And they own that part of the team. They are making that decision. Yeah. So the coach is under a little pressure to play the person that they're giving the most money to.
Yeah, and that's exactly, we had Lyndon on, and that's kind of what soured him on coaching was, you have to recruit your own players because they're always going to be looking for a better opportunity to leave. There's lying between players, parents, and coaches. Right. He didn't like that. And he's like, it's only going to get worse. This could have been stopped 10 years ago if the NCAA had the balls to step up and make a decision.
They should have just made them employees, okay?
Exactly. Which they refused.
Pay the damn taxes like everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay? Make them employees. Now they can't do it. Yeah. That's what Northwestern, you know why? Because they didn't want to do, because Northwestern formed a union. And
Dartmouth did too.
They were upset about that union thing.
Yes.
But they could have got ahead of that. They could have
100%.
said, all the kids that are a part of the NCAA pay X dues into the union. Okay, it's a gigantic union. You have your own chapters at your university. Okay, or they don't have a union at all, and then let the universities do what they may with it. Right? Some might have a union, but however they do it, just let them be employees. Okay, you could still have NIL because you could have money on top of it.
Yes,
right. But you could have made them employees and said, "Hey," and this is where the coaches might have been greedy on. I don't know if it is or not.
Linden agreed. Linden said
coaches didn't want to do it.
Linden said the coaches talked about it extensively, and he was so frustrated because he knew that this was going to come back to bite them. And he said if we had made the decision in 2012 or 2013 to just give a little, we wouldn't be in the position now where we're giving away the house and where it's legitimately free agency, and he firmly believes like, okay, you want to go into the transfer portal, you get one shot. You can go in once. If you go in a second time, you got to sit out a year.
But it's never. So the crazy thing is that now if you tried to implement that, you just get sued. It never happened.
Yeah, because precedent has already been set.
Did that before. But once the cat's out of the bag and you can do whatever you want, genie's out of the bottle. There's no way you could go and say, "Hey, you can do whatever you want," and then all of a sudden now we're going to be like, "No, you can't." No.
The Supreme Court voted 9-0. Nobody got one. They didn't get one vote.
9-0
paying the players. It was 9-0. And like I said, and Joe had said, the only thing that would bring it down would be a scandal. And the only way, like I said, that there could be a scandal would be as if the cartel started in NIL or the mafia started in NIL.
Why wouldn't they? At some point,
it'd be brilliant.
If you wanted to control money, how about gambling, like DraftKings?
Yeah.
If you were, I don't know what the laws are with gambling, so there may be laws against this. You know what I mean? So, but what's to stop an executive at DraftKings from starting a collective at a school and him just saying, a couple of cronies saying, "Hey, listen, we're giving you guys $200,000 each, $300,000 each. Just make sure we cover here. Just make sure we cover here."
Exactly. Yes.
Like gambling's everywhere in sports now.
It's more prevalent than ever. And there, like I said, when I go to Store Central and donate, you put a name and a card number in. That's it. So they're not tracing where the money's coming from. I don't even think they care where the money's coming from. They're just taking it. So
the players definitely don't care.
No, why would the players care? I mean, I wouldn't care. But they don't track it. They know how much is coming in and everything, but as far as where it's coming from, they don't know.
Listen, if Steve Cully walked up to Joe Pagano and handed him a check and said, "Here's $1,000."
Yeah.
Take it. I mean, you don't even have to be a collective. I can walk up to any person I want and hand them a check now.
I think that's technically not legal. I think you have to go through the collective as far as donating.
I don't think so.
I have to check it, but
I don't think so.
But you give whoever you want.
Here's a piece of paper, and I say,
Frank did it. Frank did it at Utica University. I mean,
Steve Cully is now the spokesperson for Schumann Enterprising.
Yes.
$1,000.
Yes.
Just sign that you're okay with that.
Here you go. You're all set.
That's the contract. You could do that.
Yeah. No, 100% you can. And I know Joe was getting mad that we kept talking about it, but it's just like it's getting worse. It annoys
people that are don't like it that much. Don't like it because they don't have control over the players anymore and what they do, and which I understand completely. But it's funny because I think it's funny. I'll tell you, more than anything, I think it's funny, and I'll tell you why.
Well, they did it to themselves.
My thought process on this is this: for a year, and you've known this, and there's a lot of coaches that are phenomenal guys, okay? But there's a lot of coaches that just do everything to advance themselves, okay?
100%. 100%.
And they take advantage of you, ex-high school coach.
Yep.
You know, when you have somebody, you're your best friend. When you don't, they don't even want to take your call.
Yep.
And now it's like it's like the deer now holding the gun. You know what I mean?
That's what it's turned into.
You're shooting the deer. Now the deer has the gun. Now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck.
Now the deer has the gun.
That's what the fuck you get.
And that's because they were too greedy in the 2012s.
Way too greedy.
Coaches were too greedy. The schools were too greedy, and they couldn't figure out how to part with some money.
Oh, they could. They didn't want to. Yeah. I mean, they're getting billions of dollars, and you're telling me you can't give anything back to the kids when you're making that on their blood, sweat, and tears. You're not going to give them anything. You're going to give them, a dining hall card and, a shitty dorm room at Hale or Ellsworth. Like, come on. Like, it's got to be equitable to an extent. Give them what they deserve, what they're bringing in. I mean, it's not even close. And, especially for us, if we don't really make a transition in the next 2 to 3 years, this model is not sustainable. It's not. We're not going to last. We're the only independent left. UMass is in the MAC. That's it. Right. It's us and Notre Dame. And Peacock isn't calling to give us $1 billion television deal.
No.
So it's like it's just sad because everyone works so hard to bring our program to the FBS level.
You know, it's funny when we're like the Monies in the middle there on it. Like basically, we're kind of like when we're talking about this, we're really kind of the middle side. So we're in the middle, right? To one side is the university, to the other side is the collective, right? And we're in the middle saying, hey, this doesn't work. This has to happen. And then this doesn't work on this other side, and this has to happen. And both the university and the collective are like,
they're at odds.
If they would just do it our way, it would work.
It would work, right?
It's like, no, we have to go across the aisle, okay, and figure out how to make this happen. Okay.
I agree.
And part of it is obviously a conference is part of it, right?
They can't agree on a bowl of soup to order.
I mean, look, listen, basketball is going to be affected, just like when we were in the AAC. Okay,
basketball is going to go down because they don't have the revenue.
Not women. People like women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean they'll get deals.
Gino Ariema is there.
Yeah,
they're going to be fine for the most part. There's only people would hate if I said this. Yes, there are more better teams now than there was 20 years ago in women's basketball. Absolutely, but it's not like men's basketball. Men's basketball has so many more teams that are good. So if you have a little bit of drop off in men's basketball, you go from being the top program to a top 25. Yeah. And then if you become a top 25, you become a top 25 to nothing. Okay. In women's basketball, as long as Gino's there or someone like Gino, Gino is going to have us as a top 5 to 10 program no matter what happens.
Yeah.
because there aren't that many great. Like if you're a girl coming out of high school and you're a top player in the country, there's
There's
10
maybe
schools
10
that you could
schools to
choose.
go to.
That's it. There's
Yeah.
10 schools if you
Yeah.
want to be great that you could go to.
Yeah.
Okay, there's really nothing other than those 10. In men's basketball, there's 100 schools you can go to.
There's a lot of options.
There's
Yes.
100 schools you can go to.
Absolutely.
I mean, I watched Missouri get beat by Drake.
Drake. Yes, I was just going to say that. I picked Drake too.
You know,
But yeah.
you know, and there was a couple of those last night. There was a few of them, but yeah. So you know, that happens. So there's no doubt that Drake has nowhere near the collective that Missouri is, but you're still able to get good enough players to have a chance in these games. Whereas in women's, there's no way. Like you could stockpile players. You can't stockpile them like UConn did when Maria played. They really stockpiled them then. You know, there wasn't that many. You know, the 3 or 4 teams had all the players, right?
Yeah.
But now it's 10. But it's going to take another 20 years from that 10 to go from 10 to 25.
Yes.
You know, that are really good programs. And then probably another 20 years for it to be 50 to 100 programs. That's because women's sports really didn't blossom until the 90s.
Yeah.
Other than Olympians, you know, like track and field, swimming, like the traditional sports.
It was 95 when UConn won the national championship. I couldn't tell you who won a women's national championship before UConn won it in 95.
Well, here's what I remember. You know, the coach at LSU, what's her name?
Mulkey.
As a kid, I remember Louisiana Tech being the dominant, which Kim Mulkey. But I didn't know anything about it. It wasn't even the NCAA. I just remember that. Oh, Louisiana Tech's the best women's program.
Yeah,
and I remember my father saying, "Well, there's really not that many like great schools."
Well, they didn't even use all the scholarships half the time.
Right. The only 2 programs that were really dominant back then was USC with Cheryl Miller. Yep. Okay. Kim Mulkey and the Louisiana Tech crew. She was a point guard, but there was a girl that was really good. I can't think of her name, maybe Woodard or something. And she was like the player of the year. And then there was a famous women's basketball player, Ann Donovan from.
Oh yes, yep.
I don't remember where she went, but wherever Ann Donovan went, that was probably the other. And then there was Tennessee because of
Pat Summitt.
Pat Summitt, and then you could argue that she was also one of the originals, along with Ann Donovan went to Old Dominion. So Old Dominion was only good because of Ann Donovan.
Dominion, wow.
Old Dominion, yeah. I mean, Ann Donovan's from New Jersey. That's the reason why I know she is. Because everyone would always be like, Ann Donovan. I'm like, oh, this is Ann Donovan. They're like, she's 6'8", you know. But Ann Donovan was, I guess she's still she coached the Connecticut Sun, Ann Donovan.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, how old is Ann Donovan now? Ann Donovan's not that old.
Well, no, not if she played in the 90s. I wouldn't.
No, she went to college, Old Dominion, 83.
Oh, 83. Okay.
That can't, so that she's only, that age is wrong.
60s?
Oh, she died. Ann Donovan died.
Ann Donovan died?
That's. Sorry.
Well, gee, Dave.
Ann Donovan died at 56.
Oh, she's young.
Actually, she's young, though. She died.
Actually, she died.
She died at 56, Ann Donovan.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's actually terrible. Yeah. Okay. So now I feel bad. Now we're gonna have protesters beyond
beyond Worcester.
Oh, she had heart failure. Maybe she was so tall. Maybe that was
yeah, when you're 6'8", yeah.
That's probably difficult on the heart.
That's a big
not that I know anything. I'm speculating. Maybe she liked cheeseburgers. Who knows? I don't know. But I know I like cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I do too. Very much.
Problem.
Well, it's not really a problem. I mean, it's okay to have some red meat every now and then.
I like red meat. I love cheeseburgers.
Yeah, it's good for you.
But
Better than
anyway,
Barnes.
yeah, I think you're right on the whole. I think Lyndon Johnson is right. I think you're right. I think we have a problem.
Lyndon was great. Lyndon was just he works in cybersecurity now, which is
Really?
scary. Yes, in
How
Maryland,
did
and
he get that job?
I didn't ask. He now listen to this. He told me another story, which I just first of all I didn't believe, but then I found it hilarious. He initially interviewed for college coaching positions, and the question he was asked most often by head coaches was, "How many Twitter followers do you have?" Not X's and O's, schemes, recruiting, anything like that. How many Twitter followers do you have? That was their main question. And that's when Lyndon said that I no, nope, I can't do this.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that would bother me too. But I mean, do you know? Is that something normal that coaches will ask? Like,
I didn't know. I never heard of
yeah,
that. I mean, I
yeah.
have a lot of Twitter followers. So should
No,
I
I
be a
know
head
you.
coach?
I know you do. But
Appoint me head coach.
yeah, but I mean, he was like offended by that. Like, how many Twitter followers do you have?
That's because they know that
It's recruiting. I get it.
recruiting.
Yeah, and Lyndon was. I said Lyndon was one of the best coaches that we had because he coached tight ends, he coached linebackers, he was the special teams coordinator and the recruiting coordinator when he was at UConn. And he was the only coach that Randy took with him to Maryland,
Really, that was the only coach he took with him.
which was surprising because he didn't think Randy liked him, and Randy took him to Maryland. Didn't take anyone from his staff.
Really?
Yeah, that's unheard of.
That might have hurt. That might have been what. So he was just like, I hate all these guys other than.
Oh, I got a call at 11 o'clock at night from my friend Chris Desitis, the equipment manager who now works for basketball. He was with football at the time. He called to let me know. He's like, Randy just left. Nobody knows where he is. I was like, well, I guess Randy took the midnight train somewhere. And
The midnight
he
train,
left.
Maryland.
He left instructions with a couple of the assistants on, when to load the bus to get on the flight and get people home. So he goes to Maryland. They spend all night, negotiate his contract. And while the team is flying home on the plane to Connecticut, he can't see them. They put him on the loudspeaker, the microphone that the flight attendants talk into.
Yeah.
And that's where he announced to the team that he was not returning.
Hello, everybody.
This is Coach Etzel.
This is your humble coach, Coach Essel. I hope you guys are enjoying the flight. I have one announcement here. First of all, keep your seatbelts on. If there's an emergency,
if there's turbulence, yep.
If there's turbulence, keep your seatbelt on. But before we talk about any of that stuff, I did want to let you know that I am leaving. I'm leaving the program. You guys can go fuck yourself. And coaches, by the way, guess what? You're not coming with me.
Yeah, so you're all on your own.
Guys.
Mazel tov. And
I'll go to you guys at Mazel tov. And I will. You know what? Don't call me. I don't call you.
Yes.
And listen. Enjoy the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't ever have to see any of you again. And then 4 years later, he was back.
And the best part was UConn played Maryland the following year, and UConn beat them.
That's even.
In Randy's first game.
You know what's amazing about that is that the amazing thing about all of it is, and I like Randy actually. The amazing thing about all of it is that UConn actually took him back. That's
In a heartbeat. Like 2 days after he was terminated. Not actually, that's not true. He actually I helped him work with us at Holy Cross.
I mean, Randy. I like Ray. I think Ray's a good guy. I just think I'm obviously making light of the situation. I think it wasn't funny for the players, but
Well, he made Jordan Todman announce after the Fiesta Bowl that he was declaring for the NFL draft. He made him stand up and announce, guys, I'm going to the NFL draft. So
wow.
at that moment, Randy could have obviously said, I'm exploring other opportunities for jobs. And he did not do so. So that's what I thought was a little messed up. And then
Does he regret any of that? I'm curious.
yes, when I had him on the show, yes, he admitted he regretted the way that he came in because he tried to be Tom Coughlin and he was not. And he was very, very strict and he ran all the veterans off and he had a team that legitimately could have won the conference, had a chance to make the playoffs. And then he didn't take probably 90% of the 50-year guys back.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He told them they weren't coming back. So that completely rubbed him the wrong way. It was just because, he wanted his own guys. He wanted to get his scholarship guys in there. And once he, lightened up, things got better. And he loosened up. He didn't kill people as much in practice, didn't hit as much. And he became more of a player's coach and he was much better. And now he just, he supports his son at Stanford. But he, I still think that he had a place and could coach. His problem was he didn't get along with Jeff Hathaway at UConn, the athletic director. Hathaway was a cocksucker and they didn't get along. Lou Perkins was, his man.
Right.
And then Ward Manuel came in and Ward Manuel made promises that he never lived up to as far as like the budget for staffing.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So he didn't get even close to the money he was promised that he would have to hire a staff. So that's really what caused the struggle. And then he wanted to play during COVID in 2020. The school would not allow it.
Which was that was the ludicrous
thing. They were one of the only other than
they were the only program.
The Ivy League. Other than them, the Ivy League, everyone else played.
I think they thought other teams were going to follow.
Well, initially they planned, if you recall, I believe the Big Ten announced that they weren't going to play.
Right.
And then everyone was uproar about it. So they announced they were going to play just an abbreviated like 8-game season or 6-game season or whatever. But yeah, that just set him back. And he's just got a bitter taste in his mouth about football. And he supports his son. His son's an analyst and is doing the best he can at Stanford. And Stanford's just, again, it's not. They have a great endowment. If they wanted to put money into football, they'd win. But it's another situation where they're going to struggle. But then when you look at UConn, I just hope they have a productive spring practice. They have 2 FCS games coming out the gate. So they legitimately could start 2-1 because they do play Syracuse. I mean, at worst, I think Syracuse is going to struggle at quarterback. They could be 3-0. So they have a chance. But I was talking to I was talking to Lyndon about this. I was like, Lyndon, say UConn goes 11-0. Are they ranked? Are they going anywhere? No, they're not. I mean, they'll go to some meaningless bowl game, and that'll be it. And that's just what's disappointing. It's just, they got to get into a conference, and we've seen how it's worked for Syracuse. We've seen how it's worked for BC, West Virginia, all the Big East schools. None of them have had much success at all. So it's just a catch-22. Yeah, okay. So the ACC takes you. Are you going to dominate in the ACC? I think you have a better chance in the ACC than you do the other conferences, but it's still an uphill battle. But I will give Burton credit. He did spend judiciously and wisely, and he brought in very good transfers in last year's class, which I think added value and contributed. It's just a matter. I mean, they got 30 transfers this year, 12 freshmen. I just hope they get some production from them. That's going to be the key.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have a tournament this weekend?
Yeah.
Sunday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay.
Why is my freezing constantly now? I was doing so great, and now I'm
Yeah,
freezing.
you were. You were. Well, it's
Oh,
because we were talking about the outsiders and Porkies and all that good stuff. What
yeah.
what is that thing you have? Is it a green screen? It is your green screen, right? And you have a virtual background?
Yep. It's
Okay.
green.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yep. It's a green
That's
screen,
what it is.
and I don't know why my background constantly gets all crazy. Um.
And the guy you gave me, is it Lamont Parker? Was that the DB you said to
Yeah.
contact? Okay.
Yeah. It'd
Okay.
be great if you can get a
All right.
hold.
I'll,
But yeah, I think that's all right. How about the NCAAs? Do we have a
no,
chance?
I think that we'll beat Oklahoma tonight. I think if we're healthy, I think if we have a good showing against Oklahoma, I think we could beat Florida. I mean, I did pick it on one of my pools. I picked them to beat Florida. Um, but if they're inconsistent, like Joe said, if they don't have, if they can't go to the bench, like Joe said, if Johnson plays like garbage and Reed isn't as productive, they're just going to struggle, and they'll end up losing. And it's, again, it goes back to, we talked about in October with Hurley proclaiming the three-peat was why he was staying. So everyone circled them on their calendars, and that was just such a miscalculation.
It is. I
It
mean,
was a miscalculation. But Auburn, I think, is good. I think I picked Kentucky. You liked Alabama, didn't you? Like
I
Alabama?
did like Alabama,
Yeah.
but I like Auburn.
Yep. I
But
like Houston, but Houston never freaking makes it. I really did like Houston. Obviously, Duke, depending on Cooper Flag. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially tonight.
I don't
Um,
get into the NCAAs the way I used to.
no, I don't either. I mean, I can say I've gotten off of college sports probably altogether. It's just not as, it's not as fun as it used to be, just because the money involved, and when you see what these players are getting paid and the conferences are getting paid and nobody's doing anything about it, it's just like there's no leadership. There's nobody developing young men, and that's what Lyndon said was so important to him. Lyndon said that, it was about developing young men. That was most important to him. He wanted his kids to come out prepared as an adult so they could put together a resume, so they could apply for a job, interview for a job, and have success and build a life for themselves. That's what was rewarding and what resonated with him.
No doubt, and that's the thing that's obviously changing dramatically. Um,
Oh, huge. There's no loyalty on any side. But if you do have his number, and if you have a slot to fit him in, definitely text him. Um, I'll see. I mean, I'd bring him on money line again if he wanted to come on. He was just great. He was so good to talk to. Did you play with him?
No, he's before me.
He was before you. Okay. He was before you. All right, that's good because I can talk
Yeah,
to him.
he was a legendary player.
He was. No, I know he was. He was. He was. He was a good guy. The merger. Oh, Coach K wants to merge the ACC and the Big East. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll happen though, but it would make it messy
Um,
football wise.
there's no advantage for the ACC, really. I mean, it would obviously help the Big East. I don't know where it would help the
It would
ACC.
make the ACC worse as a conference.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, UConn, St.
They're
John's.
trying to save
If
Florida
they
State, and they don't want Florida State and Clemson to leave. That's what it comes down to.
well, I thought that they gave Florida State and Clemson a better deal to stay, a better rights deal in order to stay. I have to check on that
They may have. I'm not sure.
because that's the big thing. What the fuck? Hold on. UConn and Arkansas State they canceled. Did you know that?
Football?
The basketball game. Breaking news: UConn women's basketball head coach Gino Auriemma cancels 5-year extension. Oh, okay. I misread this. Gino Auriemma signed a 5-year extension, and he canceled it to be the UConn women's basketball head coach. Holy shit! Did you know that?
So wait, what?
So Gino had signed an extension in the fall of 2024, a 5-year extension coaching. He apparently canceled that coaching extension for 5 years for the UConn women's basketball team. The fans are going nuts. It's an unexpected turn of events.
When
The
was that?
future. This just happened, apparently. Breaking news. It apparently just happened.
Oh yeah, because not even on the news.
Holy crap. This decision has left players, fans, and basketball world in shock. But I mean, he's the all-time wins leader. The pressure's on him. He's got to go out a champion. I get it. He's probably had enough. I just can't see him like retiring. And Maria had said all along, like Diana would be the next head coach. That'd be funny if D came in or they brought in Morgan or Shea Ralph.
Well, I'm trying to find this.
Yeah, I mean, it says it. It says it right here.
Where does it say that?
It is on sportsship, sportsship, .co.uk. Breaking news: UConn women's basketball head coach Gino Auriemma cancels 5-year extension. In a surprising turn of events, he has announced he's canceling his extension that he signed just months ago. The decision left fans, players, and the basketball world in shock. He's won 11 national titles.
What sign is that? Because I can't find it anywhere.
It says sportship. I'm sorry, sportship.co.uk.
Sports ship.
.co.uk. Because, all right, let me see if it comes up here. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fake. I don't see it
I think
anywhere
it's fake.
else. I don't see it anywhere else.
It seems fake to me.
Yeah, yeah. I would have to concur. It's not being announced anywhere else.
I think that's fake.
Yeah, I hope it is.
It is fake. It's definitely fake. Fake news.
Good. Well, hey, you know what? Like I said, I'm the one who looks gullible up in the dictionary, so that
Fair
that
enough.
that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So you got the tournament tomorrow. Are you gonna stay up and watch the UConn game?
Yeah, I'll watch it.
All right, I'll talk to Frank. I'll see if he's staying up. Maybe I'll go over there and watch it. See how
All
he's.
right, I'll get to the lemons.
Yeah, yeah. Get to the lemons. So this has been Husky Huddle, another banner, fantastic episode. And when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.
Easily did it.